evening. It is the 4th of January 2024. Welcome to our main news broadcast on Camnet TV. Here are the top stories making headlines in our news tonight. Schools to remain closed for 3 more weeks due to cholera. Fred member warns the police boss against violating citizens' rights. Zambia's finance minister projects a positive economic outlook. In international news, former Sierra Leone president charged with treason amid post-election tensions. And in sports news, CHIPOLOPOLO squad complete as gift MPHANDE, LAMECK, BANDA and FRANKIE MUSONDA jet in. My name is Sylvia Zulu. I will be back with the details shortly.
Get all the latest updates in court news only on Camnet TV. We take you and make you feel part of the court sessions through our in-depth coverage of the adjudication process. Get informed on those who have been arrested, delayed and denied the police bond or bail victims, persons taking plea, court adjournments, verdicts, and those administration issues in the judiciary. Camnet TV is on channel 274 on DSTV, channel 25 on GoTV, and find us on channel 106 on Topstar. You can also follow and give us a like on our social media platforms. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for staying with us. And now the news in detail. Mtendere Ward 34 Councillor Boniface Chiveka assured Mtendere residents that water will be restored in the area. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Chiveka revealed that the water problem faced in the area was due to power cuts being experienced, leading to the low voltage that made it impossible for Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company to pump water to the area. He has further urged the utility company to purchase generators that can be used during power outages.
Wednesday, the 3rd of January 2024, Camnet TV carried a story from Lusaka's Mtendere Township where residents complained over the erratic supply of water for the past 3 days. Margaret Moyo, a concerned resident, told Camnet News that amidst cholera outbreak, water supply must be prioritized. However, Mtendere Ward 34 Councillor Boniface Chiveka has assured residents of Mtendere Township that water supply will be restored by the end of business Thursday. In an interview, Mr. Chiveka says the erratic supply in the last 72 hours was due to power outages in the area.
Today, since we have power and I'm informed that the water system will normalize by midday, would have reached our taps. So, as for people, I'm also appealing to them sometimes also to be keeping water in their buckets.
Mr. Chiveka has further urged Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation to purchase generators that can be used whenever the area experiences power cuts.
Water and sewerage not supplying, and the reason why water and sewerage has not been supplying is because we have experienced power outages in Mtendere for the past 3 days. So as a result, their booster pump pumping water into Mtendere has been down. So it's due to actually power supply which is supposed to power the equipment for Lusaka Water. So my appeal is for Lusaka Water and sewerage. This time is time for cholera. We don't need to wait for ZESCO. They can equally have a standby generator to be pumping water for the good people of Mtendere and Lusaka at large.
During last year's World Water Day celebration on March 22nd, 2023, Lusaka Province Minister Shell Muliata stated that government is set to improve water supply and sanitation in all parts of the country. 9 months down the line, water supply and sanitation in the country are still a challenge. Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Clean Cities initiative has proposed the setting up of a multi-sectoral emergency team to coordinate response to environmental and public health concerns in cities across the country. Initiative Chief Executive Director Officer Watts Mwila says currently the response to public health concerns such as indiscriminate dumping of waste and picking dead animals in the city is uncoordinated. Speaking in an interview, Mr. Mwila has also urged members of the public to be concerned and take part in cleaning the environment as opposed to leaving everything to authorities.
A local non-governmental organization in the environment and public sector has appealed to government to set up an emergency team to handle public health concerns. Clean Cities Initiative's Chief Executive Officer Watts Mwila observes that the current response to public health concerns is uncoordinated. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Mwila says the emergency team should be comprised of different stakeholders to ensure that a holistic response mechanism to public health issues is built.
Such as drainage and blocking, such as waste management, such as indiscriminate disposal, enforcement of non-compliance citizens, and so on and so forth. Because that, in our view, is really going to help both the local authorities as well as the government handle matters at a fast speed.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mwila has challenged members of the public to take an active role in keeping the environment clean if the spread of waterborne diseases is to be curtailed.
There should be everyone participating in ensuring that whatever we do, we live as a clean citizen. Otherwise, with the numbers that are coming out from the reports from the Minister of Health, they are quite alarming, and I think as a people, we can't continue to live like that.
With cholera deaths in the country in the recent outbreak increasing each day, a coordinated approach in addressing public health issues is without doubt of importance. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
The government has disclosed that all public and private schools will remain closed for a further 3 weeks after the official opening date of 8th January 2024 due to the outbreak of cholera. This means that schools will only open on Monday, 29th January 2024. Education Minister Douglas Yakalima says the grace period, which was earlier given to grade 8 and 10 learners, has now been overtaken and all learners are expected to open on the 29th of January 2024. Mr. Siakalima says to catch up on the time lost, the first-term holidays will only run for 1 week instead of 4 weeks, implying that schools will close for term 1 on 26th April instead of 5th April 2024 and open for term 2 as scheduled on 6th May 2024.
Government has announced that all primary and secondary schools will remain closed for 21 days as one of the interventions to mitigate further escalation of cholera cases in the country. Speaking during a press briefing, Minister of Education Douglas Yakalima says the decision was made following the surge in cholera cases and subsequent deaths to the disease.
At the time the first case was reported in Eastern Province, the cholera cases have increased and spread to most parts of the country. In order to prevent and mitigate the spread of the disease, the government has put in place measures affecting different wings of society, including the Ministry of Education. While the government is concerned about the negative impact pandemics have had on the education sector in the past, safeguarding the lives of school communities remains a priority. It is for this reason the National Disaster Management and Mitigation Council of Ministers, at its meeting on Wednesday, the 3rd of January 2024, that is yesterday, decided that 1. All public, private, aided, and community learning institutions, that is from early childhood education centers, primary and secondary schools, remain closed for a further 3 weeks after the official opening date of 8th January 2024.
Dr. Siakalima adds that the grace period, which was earlier given to grade 8 and grade 10 learners, has now been overtaken, and all learners are expected to open schools on January 29th, 2024. He says in order to catch up on the lost time, the first term holidays will only run for 1 week instead of 4 weeks. Dr. Siakalima adds that schools will close for term 1 on April 26th instead of April 5th, 2024, and open for term 2 as scheduled on May 6th, 2024.
The grace period, which was earlier given to grade 8 and 10 learners, has now been overtaken, and all learners are expected to open on 29th of January 2024. 2. And therefore, in order to catch up on the lost time, the first term holidays will only run for 1 week instead of 4 weeks, implying that schools will close for the term 1 on the 26th of April instead of 5th April 2024, and open for term 2 as scheduled on 6th May 2024.
He has further directed learning institutions to maintain high level of hygiene at both personal and institutional levels as guided by the Ministry of Health.
During the prolonged closure, all learning institutions should be thoroughly cleaned up, have clean water and sanitation facilities, adequate hand washing points, detergents and disinfectants, in addition to the provisions of the preventive guidelines already in schools. Learning institutions should maintain a high level of hygiene at both personal and institutional levels as guided by the Ministry of Health. In addition to the above, school inspections and sensitizations will be intensified at all levels in order to ensure compliance to the above guidelines.
In the past 5 years, Zambia's school calendar has been disturbed due to pandemics and outbreaks beyond the country's control. One is left to wonder if the Ministry of Education should invest in more digital learning platforms to end the disruption of physical classes for learners. Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Police have apprehended and detained 3 suspects in connection to the murder of Ides Mulwe, a 15-year-old female juvenile of the Zesco Kalundu area of Lusaka West. The incident is said to have occurred on January 1st, 2024, around 05 hours at the Zesco Kalundu area in Lusaka. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga has identified the 3 as 26-year-old Kelvin Mwemba, Evans Zulu, 22, and Richard Dube, 24, while another suspect, William Sulungwe, is on the run.
Police have apprehended and detained 3 suspects in connection to the murder of Ides Mulwe, aged 15, old, female juvenile of Zesco Kalundu area in Lusaka West. The incident occurred on the 1st of January 2024, around 05 hours at Zesco Kalundu area in Lusaka. This followed after on the 2nd of January 2024, around 23 hours, police conducted a motorized patrol and an operation where we apprehended the following persons. Kelvin Mwemba, age 26, whose nickname is Tiger. Evans Zulu, age 22, nicknamed Zero. Richard Dube, age 24, nicknamed Danger, while William Silungwe, age not yet known, is still at large and police are pursuing him. All the suspects are of Double Impact Kalundu in Chilanga district. Brief facts of the matter are that on the 31st of December 2023, around 22:30 hours, the deceased and her family members retired to bed, and on the 1st of January 2024, around 05 hours, the deceased's brother, Alan Mulwe, aged 30, reported to Rosedale Police Post on the 1st of January 2024, around 18 hours, that his sister, Ides Mulwe, aged 15, was assaulted and beaten by a group of about 5 junkies of Kanyama compound, whom we can identify if seen. and that she sustained bleeding from the mouth and nose and later died at Kanyama Level 1 Hospital around 17:30 hours on the 1st of January 2024. All the suspects ran away at the time. Later, police launched a manhunt which led to the apprehension and detention of the trio. Police are still pursuing the fourth suspect, William Silungwe, who is still at large. Police investigations are still ongoing.
The Public Protector Zambia is concerned with reports of unlawful impounding of motor vehicles by the Zambia Police Service. Director at the Office of the Public Protector, Caroline Sokoni, has called on the Zambia Police Service to be professional and avoid procedural improprieties as they execute their duties. In a press statement made available to Camnet TV, Ms. Sokoni has also appealed to members of the public who have been victims of police impounding their vehicles for questionable reasons to obtain names and service numbers of the officers, the station, and report to the Office of the Public Protector or the Public Complaints Commission. The Public Protector notes that the traffic police officers are obstructing the government's fight against corruption by impounding vehicles that have not gone against the law. In other news, opposition patriots for economic progress President Sean Tembo has dragged ruling United Party for National Development UPND Secretary General Batuke Imenda to court for alleged hate speech. Acknowledging the receipt of complaint against the UPND Secretary General, Lusaka Magistrate Elida Chanda advised the opposition leader to engage a law firm and seek consent from Director of Public Prosecution Gilbert Piri to privately prosecute the matter. Nelson Zulu has the details in the following report.
Known for his social media postings, which often land him in trouble, but not this time around, Opposition Patriots for Economic Progress PEP President Sean Tembo has lodged a complaint against the ruling United Party for National Development UPND Secretary General Batuke Imenda for the alleged offense of hate speech. Recognizing the complaint, Lusaka Magistrate Elida Chanda advised the opposition leader to engage a law firm and seek consent from the Director of Public Prosecution Gilbert Piri to privately prosecute the matter. In this matter, the UPND Chief Administrator is facing one count of hate speech contrary to Section 6.5 of the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act No. 2 of 2021 of the laws of Zambia. Allegations are that Mr. Batuke Imenda, on May 28, 2023, in an audio circulation from a press briefing held at the UPND Secretariat in Lusaka, uttered and published on various media platforms hate speech language towards Lusaka Archbishop Alik Banda by way of referring to him as the Lucifer of Zambia. When the matter came up before Magistrate Chanda Thursday, Mr. Tembo told the court he would engage a lawyer to privately prosecute the matter and was advised by the magistrate that the public prosecutor could not prosecute the matter in the absence of consent from the DPP. Before adjourning the matter to 25th January 2024 for possible plea, Magistrate Chanda directed the opposition president to ensure consent from the DPP is sought and serve the summons to the accused before 25th January 2024. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The government has directed MultiChoice Zambia Limited and Topstar Communications Company Limited not to disconnect ZNBC channel on their platforms to unsubscribed clients during the Africa Cup of Nations AFCON period. Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Thabo Kawana says clients who have not paid subscriptions should not have their ZNBC channel disconnected, as football is the country's unifying game. Mr. Kawana says MultiChoice and Topstar can disconnect all other channels except for ZNBC to allow us Zambians to watch the AFCON games. The Information and Media Permanent Secretary says all those disconnected should have their ZNBC channel reopened.
The government has said no, this should not happen. As of today, my office has written correspondence to MultiChoice Zambia Limited and Topstar, asking them that for the period of the games, no Zambian should be disconnected on ZNBC channel. They can disconnect all other channels, but ZNBC must remain active. So all those whose subscription expired and their TVs have stopped showing, they must reopen the ZNBC channel. It must reopen. And those whose subscription will expire in between the games, the ZNBC channel must not close. Between now and the time the games will finish, every television in this country must be able to beam ZNBC. And Topstar and MultiChoice Zambia Limited are advised and guided accordingly. And therefore, your government has ensured that every Zambian must watch the games.
Socialist Party leader Fred Membe has charged that Inspector General of Police Grafael Musamba has no rights to suspend the rights of citizens to assemble. Dr. Membe says the move by Mr. Musamba, as quoted recently, carries on the trend witnessed in 2023, where the opposition was curtailed from holding rallies in the name of security concerns. Speaking during a press conference in Lusaka Thursday, 4th January 2024 morning, Dr. Membe says there are no factors that would justify the excuse of security concerns being advanced to prevent the free assembly. Meanwhile, Dr. Membe has joined other stakeholders in condemning President Hakainde Hichileme's New Year address in Choma, claiming he is promoting tribalism and hate among regions. Afias Kaptula filed in this report.
Opposition Socialist Party President Freddie Membe has opened his 2024 chapter with a press conference discussing a number of issues. First on the cards, Dr. Membe dealt with the recent sentiments attributed to the Inspector General of Police, Grafael Musamba, where he disclosed that no rallies will be permitted in 2024 due to security concerns. Dr. Membe contends that a move is a continuation of the scenario witnessed in 2023, where opposing political parties were illegally denied the right to assemble.
It is not done arbitrarily. The Inspector General of Police has no authority to arbitrarily suspend citizens' enjoyment of fundamental human rights guaranteed by the Constitution and international covenants.
Dr. Membe also joined Citizens First President Hari Kalaba in condemning the alleged brewing of division in the country by President Hakainde Hichilema.
What did Mr. Hichilema expect from those speeches? When you tell your people they were being hacked for speaking their language, they were being hacked for this and that, as a tribe, as people coming from a certain region, what are you trying to tell them? What do you want them to do? How do you want them to feel?
Meanwhile, Dr. Membe has charged that President Hichilema has no capacity to turn around the economy in 2024, as he has not demonstrated capacity to do so 2.5 years in office.
Barry told you he would fix it, but instead, Barry is fixing the people that voted for him in numbers. He promised you he was going to arrest inflation, but we have seen that the figure of inflation is on the rise continually.
For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Minister of Finance and National Planning, Stumbeko Msokotwane, has projected a positive economic outlook in the year 2024. Briefing the nation on crucial economic updates, the path ahead, and the 2024 177 billion kwacha national budget, Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane outlined revenue measures across different tax types, including adjustments to income tax, customs and excise duties, and value-added tax. Dr. Msokotwane also presented an annual borrowing plan of 33.3 billion kwacha, emphasizing that new external loans would be restricted to concessional terms. Vincent Piri reports.
On September 29, 2023, Finance and National Planning Minister Tumbeko Msogotwane presented the ambitious 177.9 billion kwacha 2024 national budget effective 1st January 2024. Thursday, January 4th, 2024, the minister took time to outline government strategies to implementing this budget. Speaking at a media briefing in Lusaka, Dr. Msogotwane says the budget is expected to be funded from domestic revenues, grants from cooperating partners, and borrowing, with key focus areas aimed at unlocking Zambia's economic potential.
We are obviously also hopeful that the economic performance in 2024, we should see improvements in that. We should see improvements because some of the key sectors that struggled this year, more especially the mining sector, we are on the way to getting those resolved. So Copper Belt once again should come back to life. We know that when the Copper Belt is alive, it's not just the Copper Belt, the effects trickle down to the rest of the country. And then, of course, this coming year, the President has already declared it's a year where we want to see a lot of actions taking place.
To support the budget, the minister outlined the revenue measures across different tax types, including adjustments to income tax, customs and excise duties, and value-added tax. He also presented an annual borrowing plan of 33.3 billion kwacha, emphasizing that the external loans would be restricted to concessional terms.
This budget that we are going to, 2024, government was authorized by Parliament to borrow 33.3 billion kwacha. 33.3 billion kwacha, which is a measure of GDP is 5.2%. Of this 33.3 billion, most of this is actually borrowed domestically. Oh, they're roughly about the same. Domestic borrowing is 16.3 billion, and the external is 17 billion.
Meanwhile, Secretary to the Treasury, Felix Nklukusam, responded to concerns of lack of update on the debt restructuring process from government.
When someone says that we are not disclosing, please check this information is on the Ministry of Finance website. Every time that we make some progress or that we have attempted to do the negotiation, we do publish this information. It's a standard requirement. And the last we published is on the Ministry of Finance website.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
You're watching the main news on Camnet TV. We now take our first set of commercials. I will be back with more stories after the break.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palabana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Are you planning to marry or get married? Contact the Camnet Media team for a professional capturing of your big day in life. Let your relatives, friends and the nation join you in celebrating your big day on television. Just at a manageable fee, Camnet Television will cover and transmit your wedding on your channel of choice. Contact the marketing department on mobile number Camnet Television, not just another channel.
I give my love to having home. And as far
water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Rain Glow, your smart irrigation partner.
The Zambia Revenue Authority ZRA has intercepted 80,000 liters of ethanol which was smuggled in the country. Authority Corporate Communications Manager Oliver Nzala says the ethanol was packed in 80 drums each of 1,000 liters but declared as hydrogen peroxide. Mr. Nzala says the inspection for quantity and declaration reviewed that the product was ethanol. He adds that further inspections of the 2 trucks used for smuggling and verification of documents also reviewed that the same consignment was declared as ethanol in Botswana.
Carrying 80,000 liters of ethanol. Now, this ethanol was packed in, as you've probably seen, is that each container has got 1,000 liters. So we're talking about 40 containers on each truck. So 2 trucks carrying together carrying 80 containers of ethanol. That is 1,000 liters in each container. And the total revenue that could have been lost from this smuggling scam by the smugglers is about 3.1 million kwacha. And basically what happened is that the importers brought in the trucks with a declaration that what they were bringing into the country was hydrogen peroxide and silver.
Opposition Federal Member of Parliament Emmanuel Tembo has called on the government to put in place local measures that focus on addressing the current challenges while negotiations on the debt restructuring process continue. Mr. Tembo says placing over-reliance on international agreements may render the country's economic ineffective and affect the citizens. The lawmaker proposes the need to revisit the mining sector taxation mechanism, boosting the agriculture sector productivity and promoting local businesses.
You know, the Zambian kwacha has demand. So right now the Zambian demand has not got no demand because these people have no obligation to pay. Secondly, one of the biggest problems the UPND government is fighting Zambian business people who play a key role in the economy. So if you own even a small car, SCC, DEC will follow you. We are not saying that they shouldn't fight against corruption. They shouldn't fight, criminal activities. But the levels which are going on right now, anyone, according to the UPND, anyone who's doing business is a criminal as long as he's Zambian. Anyone who's doing business and doing well is a foreigner, then is doing clean business. So they believe that recently we saw that one of these prominent business Zambian, some of them are international, were being reported by UPND cadres, and I think that is also affecting this economy. So what we need is to actually support local companies. If instead of fighting these companies, we need to support them. It doesn't matter if they make money, because in the process they employ a lot of Zambians. In the process, they also create opportunities for other business for Zambians. So for us, our cry is that unlike what the PF used to do, to promote local businesses, right now we are promoting foreign entities and we are killing our own. So this has killed the Zambian economy.
Mining expert Edward Simukonda has expressed concern over the non-operationalization of Konkola Copper Mines KCM months after it was handed over to Vendetta on Wednesday, 3rd January 2023. Konkola Copper Mines KCM employees staged a protest demanding that production immediately resume at the mine and that they receive the 2,500 kwacha and 20% salary increment promised by Vendetta. Mr. Simukonda says it is not surprising that Vedanta has failed to honor its promise, as it has no money, adding that government should take action and look for another investor if need be.
It's not surprising that employees are protesting over their salary increment that was promised by Vedanta. I mean, I did mention it 2-3 months ago that, Vedanta was broke and they had no money. So I'm not surprised that they have failed to pay their employees as promised. So all I'm asking from government is that maybe government should take action or start pressing KCM to live by its word, because there's no way we're going to continue even in 2024 talking about the same thing. It's high time that government puts KCM in its right place. If they're unable to perform, I think it's high time that we quickly moved and brought in proper investors. I think we've heard too much about so many problems that are happening within KCM. Apart from the salaries itself, there are so many other things that that are happening there, and they're forgetting one very major issue: is that Konkola is probably the wettest mine in the world, and it's most likely that it will start flooding, and that will be a very, very expensive venture to start dewatering the mines again. So I think this is a very serious issue, and government should really press hard on KCM.
Still to come in the news, CHIPOLOPOLO squad complete as Gift MPHANDE, LAMECK, BANDA and Frank MUSONDA jet in. To join me with the details after the break.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, 4th close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Rain Glow, your smart irrigation partner.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. And now for the rest of the news. In foreign news, Sierra Leone's former president, Ernest Bai Koroma, has been charged with 4 offenses, including treason, for his alleged involvement in a failed military attempt to overthrow the government in November. The charges come amid heightened tensions following the attempted coup and a disputed June 2023 election, where President Julius Maada Bio secured a second term. The election's outcome faced rejection by the main opposition candidate and skepticism from international partners. Here's a roundup of international news.
The UN Security Council held an emergency meeting on Wednesday to discuss heightened tensions in the Red Sea following a series of attacks by Yemen's Houthi rebels. UN Assistant Secretary General Khaled Kiari warned that a military escalation would have adverse political and humanitarian consequences.
As to the overall situation in the region, we encourage all concerned parties to avoid further escalation and de-escalate tensions and threats. This is critical so that traffic through the Red Sea can return to its normal state and the risk of Yemen being dragged into regional conflagration be avoided.
The militants have said they are targeting vessels either linked to or heading to Israel in an act of solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. Kiari shared the concerns of the Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization about the need to protect the freedom of maritime navigation and the potential impact of the Houthi attacks on international trade. So far, several shipping companies have diverted their routes away from the Red Sea in favor of the longer route around South Africa.
A significant number of companies, around 18 of shipping companies, have already decided to reroute their vessels around South Africa in order to reduce the attacks on vessels and, of course, the impact that it has on seafarers in particular. This represents an additional 10 days to the journeys and, of course, has also a negative impact on trade and an increase on freight rates.
The U.S. has deployed a naval task force in the Red Sea.
Tens of thousands of Somali residents gathered at the Kony Stadium in the Somali capital on Wednesday to express their anger regarding the recent agreement between Ethiopia and Somaliland concerning sea and port leases. Firstly, I would tell Ethiopia to halt its intervention in Somalia. While Somalia is a sovereign country with well-established boundaries that are recognized by the UN, I would tell them to behave themselves and follow the rules. Ethiopia is believed to have been granted an exclusive lease on the sea for a period of 50 years, which has raised concerns about Somalia's sovereignty as a result. According to the protesters, the lease could establish a precedent for further resource exploitation in Somalia. The federal government finds it unacceptable that were ignored by an Ethiopian prime minister who belittles our federal government's rule by delegitimizing it. That's a violation and unacceptable. In their warnings about the dangers of the agreement, the speakers also urged the crowd to unite in order to defend the sovereignty of Somalia. During the rally, participants spoke about the potential long-term effect of the deal as well as the need for a united front to combat any perceived threats to national freedom and economic stability that could be posed by the deal in the future. Sierra Leone's former president, Ernest Bai Koroma, has been charged with 4 offences, including treason, for his alleged involvement in a failed military attempt to overthrow the government in November. The charges came amid heightened tensions following the attempted coup and a disputed June 23 election where President Julius Maada Bio secured a second term. The election's outcome faced rejection by the main opposition candidate and skepticism from international partners. The November gunmen attacked military barracks and a prison leading to 2,200 inmates released and more than 20 deaths. The government attributed the incident to a forward coup, mainly involving Koroma's bodyguards. The ex-president charged with treason, misprision of treason, and 2 counts of harboring condemned the attacks. His lawyer called the charges a political vendetta. Koroma was granted bail and the case is adjourned until January 17. 12 others, including a member of Koroma's security detail, were also charged with treason in connection with the coup attempt.
And now in sports news, the Zambia national team preparations for the Ivory Coast 2023 Africa Cup of Nations has received a boost with the arrival of LAMECK BANDA, FRANKIE MUSONDA and MPHANDE to complete the 27-member squad summoned by Avram Grant. Phande, who plays his trade in Israel, arrived in the morning, while Banda of Lecce in Italy and Musonda of AYR United in Scotland joined at 13 hours local time in Taif. Grant will now have a full complement of players summoned for duty when they have their first training session in Saudi Arabia. The CHIPOLOPOLO will play Cameroon on January 9th in an international friendly as part of preparations for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. Zambia is in Group F alongside Morocco, Tanzania, and Congo DR. The CHIPOLOPOLO opened its AFCON account on January 17th against Congo DR before facing Tanzania 4 days later with a final group match against the Atlas Lions of Morocco on January 24th. That's it for our main news tonight. Here's a recap of the stories making headlines. Schools to remain closed for 3 more weeks due to cholera. Fred Membe wants the police boss against violating citizens' rights. Zambia's finance minister projects a positive economic outlook. In international news, former Sierra Leone president charged with treason amid post-election tensions. And finally, in sports news, CHIPOLOPOLO squad complete as MPHANDE, LAMECK BANDA and FRANKIE MUSONDA jet in. Our verse of the day is coming from the book of Matthew 7, verse 7. Ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened to you. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sylvia Zulu. Do enjoy the rest of our programming. Good night.